You've been laying low and hard at work, and now we're getting another taste of what you've been working on. Sonny, this is sounding huge, dude. Where are you right now in the world? I mean, you have to tell us specifically, but it's dark, so you're probably somewhere on the other side of the planet.
I am. I'm actually in Santorini.
That's nice.
It's definitely a nice place. It's like a more of like a romantic vacation place, but there's a little studio out here.
I was going to say, you're not a romantic vacation kind of guy on paper. Normally, if you're traveling, you've got some creative outlet at your fingertips.
You know me, Zane, like firsthand. Like I don't need much to make the music I make, really. But just being in a different environment and being on the other side of the world where it's late, you know.
I love this record, dude, that you've done with Justin Bieber and Don Toliver. I'm listening to it, and the more I listen to it, the more subtlety and the more the detail I hear in what you do. And you're such a brilliant, the way you put things together and the granular. I know you focus on it. How did you know that it was time to hear this? Because Skrillex fans of the first era of your career will be really, I think, pleasantly surprised by this direction. So how did you know what you wanted to do?
I love music of all types, and I've never put myself in the box or necessarily tried to think about what, I love my fans to death and my supporters, but I can never really think about what anyone wants to hear. I just got to think about what I got to put out and release into the world, because that's the only way I can find myself growing. Like sitting on music that's really different, and you think about, what if I ever could have put this out, I couldn't have, ever realized the things and have the vocabulary musically I have now if I didn't actually just put this music out. So that kind of felt like why I wanted to put it out too. Is it just feels different, and the energy on it is something I've never really put out before.
Skrillex covering new ground. If you're not used to that by now, then you're not paying attention from start to finish. One of the most brilliantly restless artists of our generation. But reconnecting with Justin, I really feel like you, and to some degree, when you worked with Wes as well, were there for Justin at a really essential moment in his journey. And I don't know if you can acknowledge that, but creatively, I feel like when you guys worked together the first time, it was a turning corner moment for Justin Bieber. Do you sort of feel that way? Do you remember it that way?
To be honest, before I even worked with Justin Bieber, in that era, I didn't really pay attention to pop music that much, and I wasn't really paying attention to what was current and relevant, and I knew his music, and I knew who he was and stuff like that. It's like if you've ever been in the studio with him or seen videos, he's one of the most talented people in the whole planet.
Yeah.
I'm just happy to be a part of inspiring people.
And to be around, to be able to make music and reconnect and take what you've learned and do something new. Did you always know Justin had to be on this track when you were making it? Could you hear his instinctive sense of melody?
This was 100% intended for him, this track, you know what I mean? This was made with him in mind. So yeah, absolutely. It doesn't always happen that way. Sometimes you make music and then all of a sudden it finds a whole new sort of light and home. But this was definitely for him,
Don Toliver has emerged in the last few years, Sonny, as being this kind of voice that we needed, which to me, and Ebro and I have spoken about this here at Apple, he sort of connects that sense of real warmth that you got from performers 30, 40 years ago. He has that instant vintage tone, but he's such a modern artist.
Yes.
What's your sort of impression, having now collaborated with him on the record, about what he brings to music and what he hears and feels in it?
He's an incredible singer, and his tone is his tone. And there's only one Don Toliver,
Yeah.
He has such a special tone, and his melodies, and there's something familiar but completely new about it, like you said.
You can tell both artists absolutely love it because they're occupying and using as much space as the arrangement will allow them. Sometimes you hear collaborators on songs and you feel like they took the 8 bars that were on offer and that's all they wanted to do. I feel like Justin would have kept going. It feels like he's freestyling almost.
It was actually a live jam that turned into this track. So
it's crazy.
And the drum fills were recorded on an iPhone that were just done on a wooden table in the studio,
Love that.
Justin did the track, and then Don Toliver did his verse. I had Don go back in and sort of lay down more ad-libs and more textures throughout the whole record, So he's just kind of the ghost of Don is sort of in and weaving in and out of track before he even comes in.
Your creative spirit is always driving you. I know that. And, for good and for challenging, I know that, you're always thinking, what else do I have to express? What else can I find? So where's the music going right now, man? Where are you at?
I hate the word saying finishing, but I have all the songs, and I'm just like in there tweaking and releasing some singles, you know, before I decide to put out the bodies of work. But yeah, man, I'm just like really trying to keep my head down, and you know, it's obviously been a challenging like couple years for all of us, and I think like there's been a blessing in disguise because you know I was gonna put out like maybe some music before COVID, you know, right around when COVID was gonna hit, and then that hit, and I decided just to go back in and explore more and more, which I'm glad I did. And yeah, like you said, it's like for better or for worse, it's just you know there's so much to express. I don't think I could ever stop thinking of art to create.
I can't think of too many people who I've gotten to know through music, who are artists who have this work ethic and this, which again isn't just driven by this idea of like, I got to work because I was raised to think that way. Perhaps you were.
No,
But it's almost like, what do I do with this electricity that's just charging through me at all times, right?
I feel like I'm just starting out, and I'm a lot more critical on myself. And by the way, man, I want to tell like just for the world to hear, like Zane like is like we're speaking on Apple and all this stuff, and that's amazing, and I'm blessed to have that. But Zane is really a friend and like a true friend, and in so many ways has been there for me in the beginning, like years and years before you're at Apple, when you're at Radio One and all that stuff. And we played shows together, man. I put song out, like on my label years ago with you on, and like
Yes, right. Yeah.
just like so many. We have so much history, and like yeah, it's always cool to catch up with you and stuff like that for sure.
I appreciate it, man. And I'm just grateful we're both still here. I really am. I think about moments like this when I hear a song that's as kind of visceral and just connected as this. It doesn't feel like you're searching here. I feel like that through the tough times, you're landing these things. You're finding a way. And maybe it's harder and maybe it's more challenging than it was when, like you say, you were in this rhythm of just like tour, release, tour, release, tour, release, tour, release. Like I'm in a zone. I know what I got to make. I've got my sounds. I have everything on my computer. That sounds great. Go.
Yeah,
You're somebody who I know just toured relentlessly, man, for half a decade, nonstop, longer. And I wonder now that you're in Santorini creating and you're able to be, for the most part, left alone to do that, whether or not there's anything stirring inside you on a performance level and, where you feel like going out and playing shows again fits into your life.
I've loved performing since like I was 16. I've been touring and stuff like that, and I never stopped, man. I never stopped doing music since 2004. I know I'm gonna sound old, but I'm 33 now, and I've been on tour since I was 16. So to be honest, like this is like the first time in my life where I've really been content with like not playing and not being out there, and I just want like when I go back out there for it to be worth it, and for the people, for the fans. Like I used to play so much, and I played so many cities so many times. Like when I come back to whatever city, I want it to be worthwhile, and bring them something really special, because I don't get asked to do the middle slot. I get asked to headline and close it out. So if I'm going to headline it, I got to bring that